Fever. Before we jump right into that, I want to thank Jason Whitlock. Guys, you can go over and check out the latest episode of Fearless. Your boy was on there, thrashing the WNBA into oblivion. I was like, man, this is the WNBA's worst nightmare. Putting Jason Whitlock and Rodrance together. Bad idea. Well,
the inevitable finally happened, and the silence coming out of Indiana was absolutely chilling. Following weeks of intense pressure and a fan base that was practically staging a mutiny, the Indiana Fever leadership finally made their move on roster cuts. They waited until the very last second to act, but the harm had already been done. This wasn't a simple case of standard roster management. It was a frantic attempt to settle the most intense storm the WNBA has ever witnessed. Supporters weren't just asking for shifts in direction. They were demanding them with their spending power, and the team finally caved. It was a moment of sheer desperation that shifted the entire path of the season.
Man, this is the WNBA's worst nightmare. Putting Jason Whitlock and Rodrance together. Bad idea. Well, there's no mercy in this dojo. Period. So, we got a few things to talk about, right? Number one, where do I want to start? Let's start with the players that just got waived, because the Fever waited to the very last memento to try to waive anybody. Megan McConnell, goodbye. Kind of a shame, honestly. Looks like she might be a contender. Jessica Timmons.
Maya McConnell is gone, Jessica Timmons is out, and Kayana Taylor has officially been shown the exit. Even Celeste Taylor, a player many assumed had a legitimate chance to stay, was released in a move that felt less like a smart strategy and more like a peace offering to a frustrated public. These weren't just names on a document. They were the victims of a front office that appears completely disconnected from its own massive success. By waiting until the 11th hour to release these athletes, the Fever showed a level of hesitation that has fans questioning who is truly in charge. The roster is getting smaller, but the tension in the building is only rising.
I feel like the Fever are running a full PR campaign for Stephanie White. Instead of promoting the actual players, people pay to see. I'm sure she's a nice person, but she is not the franchise superstar, nor do fans pay to watch her. Fans are not stupid. Stop trying to force her on the fan base. We decide if she deserves support once we see the offense and how CeCe is being used. Not parked in a corner getting iced out again. Stop trying to manufacture approval through nonstop propaganda.
The timing of these specific cuts reveals everything about the internal turmoil currently shaking the Fever organization. They sat on these choices for as long as they could, hoping the public outcry regarding how players were being used would simply go away. Instead, the criticism only grew more intense as fans realized the franchise was focusing on a PR strategy rather than winning games. When you have a once-in-a-lifetime talent like Caitlin Clark, every single decision is analyzed 1,000 times over. These cuts weren't just about finding roster spots. They were a clear sign that management is finally feeling the heat from a fan base that refuses to stay silent.
Stop trying to manufacture approval through nonstop propaganda videos and put that energy into the product and on the court instead. Damn. D-Zam, shiznit. Wow. Crushed. You still don't get why your ticket prices were dropped. Wow. Yeah, the ticket prices coming up a little light, folks. They are. Yeah. Mostly cheerleading. Need a Mike Ditka woman coach out there. Okay. Guys, you remember when your boy went out there? Remember when Sandy...
While the team was being dismantled, the Fever marketing department was busy launching a massive PR campaign to protect Stephanie White's image. Fans are starting to notice that the organization is spending more energy promoting the head coach than the actual star players people are paying to watch. It is a strange tactic that has failed miserably, leading many to view it as a shallow attempt to create artificial approval. You cannot force a fan base to respect a coach using polished clips and mic'd-up segments when the product on the court feels broken. The gap between the front office's goals and the fans' reality has created a deep divide that no amount of propaganda can fix.
It's ride or die. Granted, they had issues with the front office and coaches, but never like the Fever. Bye. Wow. Wow, the person is killing any kind of flair and brilliance in this team. This woman is not good enough to coach half of these players. That's why she can't make plays work for Clark, who would play CC as a forward, the clueless hack would. Wow. Hey, Fever franchise. Stephanie White promoting the Fever franchise is like Dylan Mulvaney promoting Bud Light. Good luck.
The response to this latest marketing push has been nothing short of devastating, with some experts calling it a case of instant regret. Fans are questioning why the franchise is treating Stephanie White like the main attraction instead of the players who are actually selling out jerseys. The message is simple. The audience decides who earns their support based on performance, not on staged videos of a coach shouting from the sidelines. There is an increasing feeling that the team is trying to pressure the audience into accepting a coaching philosophy that doesn't match the talent on the court. It's a risky game to play when your viewers are more educated than ever about the game.
Fever franchise. Stephanie White promoting the Fever franchise is like Dylan Mulvaney promoting Bud Light. Good luck. Damn. In case you guys do not know, Bud Light's actual worth as a business has never remotely recovered from the Dylan Mulvaney situation. Not even remotely. Wow. The league allowed cheap shots on the biggest star in the league history. They are literally complicit. It left most viewers unable to watch the garbage being.
In these mic'd-up videos, we watch Stephanie White telling her players not to focus on being athletic, but to simply be aggressive. It is a baffling message for a roster that should be playing a fast-paced, high-energy style of basketball. Fans are overanalyzing these clips and finding them lackluster, noting that the energy feels manufactured and the coaching style seems stuck in the past. Rather than highlighting the incredible skill of the athletes, the spotlight remains firmly on the woman holding the clipboard. This approach is being seen as a huge distraction from the fact that the offense still hasn't figured out how to use the most dangerous shooter in basketball history.
They are literally complicit. It left most viewers unable to watch the garbage being played, and they aren't coming back. The league still doesn't promote her. They prefer Wilson and SQ and others. Pathetic. I would say that I don't think they promote Sabrina Ionescu enough, to be quite honest with you, but she's white and straight, so there's that. One of the worst head coaches of the WNBA. Guys, not good. You heard them. See you Saturday for the season opener. Fever basketball.
The greatest worry among the loyal fans is that Caitlin Clark is being phased out of her own offensive system. We have seen her stuck in the corner, used merely as a distraction while the action happens elsewhere, and the fans have had enough. They didn't purchase tickets to watch the most electric player on the planet stand still while the coach runs a scheme that ignores her best attributes. The demand is very straightforward. Stop trying to turn the coach into the star and put the ball back in the hands of the franchise player. Every game that passes where Clark is underused is a game where the front office loses more trust with the people who keep them in business.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the video. I do. But I think at last check, roughly 1,600 or 1,700 tickets remain for a game that sold out nearly instantly last year, as did the year before. This year, three and a half days out from the game, tickets remain. Again, it will sell out. They've had to drop ticket prices. People were paying up for tickets. Remember, I was making videos talking about.
The backlash has grown so loud that it is finally starting to hit the organization's bank account. That is exactly when a sports franchise truly begins to panic. We are already seeing ticket prices fall for matchups that were once expected to be massive sellouts. Last year, these seats were being grabbed in seconds at record-breaking prices. Now, with the season opener just days away, nearly 1,700 tickets are still available on the primary market. This is a major warning sign for a league that was supposed to be riding the Caitlin Clark momentum to new heights. If you lose the interest of the fans before the season even starts, you are facing a very long and quiet year. The current situation is sparking comparisons to some of the most notable brand failures in recent memory. One fan even compared the promotion of the Fever team to the infamous Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light controversy. That is a harsh criticism of how much the brand has been hurt in such a short window of time. Bud Light's market value has never fully bounced back from that marketing shift, and the Fever are heading toward a similar disaster. When you alienate your primary audience to push a story they didn't ask for, you risk destroying the very core of your success. The fans feel let down, and they aren't afraid to walk away. There is a growing list of supporters who claim they are done following the team because of the coaching and the front office. These aren't casual fans. These are people who have been loyal for years but simply cannot tolerate the current path. They see a coach who they believe isn't qualified to manage the level of talent on this specific roster. When a coach is viewed as a failure who would use a generational guard as a forward, all trust is lost. You cannot win back a fan base that feels you are actively wasting the greatest chance the franchise has ever had to become a worldwide powerhouse. The wasted opportunities are piling up, and many are looking back at the hiring process with deep regret. When Sandy Brondello was available, she seemed like the ideal fit for this group of players. She has a documented history of successfully managing high-profile stars like Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart. More importantly, she has been very open about her admiration for Caitlin Clark's style of play. Instead of hiring a championship-level coach who knows how to build around a phenomenon, the Fever went a different way. Now they are left wondering why the team chemistry is missing and why the fans are demanding a total restart. It isn't just a coaching issue, it's the lack of high-level professional experience in the front office that is hurting this team. There were many calls to bring in experts from the men's side who understand the stress of managing a high-profile superstar. In the NBA, when you have a player of this caliber, the entire organization is structured to ensure their success. The Fever, however, seem to be sticking to an old-school WNBA perspective that fails to recognize the massive cultural shift Clark has brought to the game. They are trying to force a fit where there isn't one, and the friction is starting to create a fire that could ruin the season. The league itself isn't doing much to help, as many viewers feel the WNBA is enabling the way its biggest star is being handled. From permitting physical cheap shots on the court to failing to feature her correctly in league-wide ads, there is a feeling that the establishment is trying to keep Clark in her place. They seem to prefer highlighting other players while the one person actually filling the arenas is left to struggle on her own. This perceived lack of support from the league headquarters only makes the fans angrier and more protective of Clark. It is a toxic atmosphere that is starting to distract from the actual basketball being played. Some fans have pointed out the clear difference in how various stars are marketed, specifically pointing to Sabrina Ionescu. There's a growing sense that the league is unsure how to handle a star who is white and straight in a way that connects with the wider audience they want to reach. This adds another layer of tension to an already heated situation. Whether the issue is marketing, officiating, or coaching, the recurring theme is a lack of appreciation for the impact Caitlin Clark has had on the sport. The fans see the inconsistency and are using their platforms to call out the disappointing nature of the league's current promotional efforts. The coaching staff is being described as some of the worst in the history of the WNBA by the most vocal parts of the community. This isn't just an exaggeration, it's a reflection of the deep frustration felt by people who truly know the game. When you have a player who can make every pass and hit every shot, yet your offense looks slow and boring, the blame goes straight to the person in charge. Stephanie White is under a microscope like no coach before her, and so far, she is not passing the test. Every error is being highlighted, and every victory will be credited to the players while every loss falls on her. We are only days away from the first game of the season, and the mood surrounding the team is surprisingly heavy. Instead of pure excitement, there is a lingering sense of worry. The promotional videos featuring Clark and Sophie Cunningham are trying to build up interest, but the energy feels different than it did just a few months ago. Ticket prices are dropping, and the sellouts aren't happening as fast as they used to. This should be a celebratory time for the Indiana Fever, but instead, it feels like they are preparing for a crash. The fans are waiting to see if anything has truly changed or if it's just more of the same. The decline in ticket prices is the clearest sign of the fans' growing unhappiness. When people were willing to spend thousands of dollars just to be in the arena, the front office felt they could do no wrong. But as the initial hype fades and the reality of the coaching problem sets in, that demand is starting to cool. You cannot maintain record-breaking growth if the product on the court is frustrating for people to watch. The Fever organization is discovering the hard way that a star player gets people through the door once, but a well-managed team is what keeps them coming back. Right now, They are failing that second part. The recent GM survey only made things worse, with many fans finding the findings to be completely absurd. It's just another example of the massive gap between how league insiders view the game and how the actual viewers see it. There is a disconnect at every level of the sport right now, and Caitlin Clark is right in the middle of it. The establishment seems to be doubling down on their ways, while the new wave of fans is demanding a total revolution. This clash of cultures is reaching a breaking point, and the Indiana Fever are the main stage where this battle is being played out. If the team reaches the 15-game mark with a mediocre record like 7-8, the fallout will be total chaos. Fans are already on edge, and a slow start will likely lead to immediate demands for coaching changes and front office resignations. There is no grace period for this team because the expectations are simply far too high. You don't get the luxury of a rebuilding year when you have the most famous player in the world on your squad. Every single game is a judgment on the leadership of this franchise. So far, the fans are voting for a new direction before it is too late. The players who were cut are only the start of this story. The real question is whether the remaining roster can overcome the internal obstacles they are currently facing. It is an incredible amount of pressure to put on a young group, especially when they can feel the frustration coming from the seats. The vibe in the arena on opening night will tell us everything we need to know. Will the fans be there to celebrate a new chapter? Or will they be there to show their anger toward a coaching staff they no longer believe in? The stakes are higher than they've ever been for a season opener. The marketing department can release all the flashy videos they want, but at the end of the day, the truth is found on the court. You cannot manufacture team chemistry, and you cannot fake a winning culture. The fans are tired of the PR stunts and the propaganda. They want to see a team that plays with the same brilliance and excitement that their superstar is known for. If Stephanie White cannot provide that, no amount of mic'd-up content will save her position. The clock is ticking, and the situation is already volatile. This season will either be a historic success or a legendary disappointment. As we look toward Saturday, the pressure on the Fever is unlike anything ever seen in women's sports. The eyes of the world are on Indiana, not just to watch Caitlin Clark, but to see if the team can actually handle the greatness they've been handed. The fans have made their feelings very clear. The cuts have been made, and the PR campaign is working overtime. Now all that is left is for the game to begin. The silence from management has been replaced by the roar of the crowd. And that roar is demanding excellence. Anything less will be viewed as a total failure of leadership. The story of the Indiana Fever is a warning for any team that thinks they can ignore their fan base. In the modern world of sports, the audience has more influence than ever before, and they aren't hesitant to use it. The panic in Indiana is real because the consequences are real. This isn't just about winning a few games. It is about the future of the league and the legacy of its biggest star. Whether the Fever can survive this storm or if they will be pulled under remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the fans are watching every move and won't accept anything but the best.